How will you know that you were successful? How will you know that you created 250,000 jobs?
We track them. We track every month. We track, for example, the first month of this year, Department of Workforce Development tracks the number of new jobs they're adding in the private sector. In January alone, there were 10,100 approximately new jobs created in the private sector. We'll keep building off of those patterns. And that's.
But how do you know that's you?
Well, it's not. You don't have a personal clicker every time you talk to somebody and get a job.
This is kind of a weird thing to say. On the one hand, Walker's saying he didn't create those jobs. Government can't create jobs. But on the other hand, he's saying it's helpful to have all these incentives to encourage businesses to create jobs.
For us, it's the overall climate. It's creating a job. It's selling in the state. If it's an employer that I've never personally talked to, but an employer in Rice Lake or La Crosse or Wausau or Green Bay says things have changed, I feel better about the economy, I feel better about the state, I'm going to go out now and hire those 5 or 10 people I was thinking about. All those collectively, that's where the real job growth is going to come.
Right now, Walker is on target. If job growth continues at the current rate, he'll make his 250,000. And in his mind, he will have done it in a very subtle, specific way. The role Walker has cast for himself is one of professional government seducer, in which he makes the idea of hiring, something you maybe had on the mind already, look that much more appealing. He's adding some alcohol to a singles mixer, maybe dimming the lights a bit, and then let the hiring begin.
In a moment, I'm going to join over here and sign away. But before that, I'll take a couple
Walker signed
questions.
part of his jobs legislation into law at a company called Ceres in Madison. They make bike racks. It's a small business that's growing, likely job creator. Good place to make an announcement like this. So a good place to test his theory, too, right? To ask if these incentives actually make a difference. The CEO, Chris Fortune, was in Dallas at the Super Bowl when the governor visited. When I visited Ceres, he was in the back office with a cold, and he got out a calculator. Okay, let's say at the end of the year I've hired 5 people. I get a $4,000 deduction for each, so $20,000 off my total income. That's a deduction, which at the end saves me something like $270 per new employee.
Whatever, let's say you hire somebody at $10 an hour, that's $2,200 or $22,000 plus benefits. What is it, 2,080 hours a year times 10? So at $2,000, I don't, that doesn't work. The math doesn't work for me as the motivator to hire people. Mm-hmm. It may work for somebody else, these financial programs, but it doesn't work for us.
It's strange, though, because Governor Walker was here to announce these new programs to encourage businesses to hire, and yet you're saying it would do nothing for you.
Well, we could benefit from that if we do hire people. The thing I am saying is that what that bill does isn't going to drive our decision on what we're going to do.
Are there employers for whom the math does work, who could get Walker those extra 60,000 jobs? I asked Governor Walker. Are there companies that you can point to right now, 3 months into your term, and say, these are companies that we've helped create jobs?
Yeah. City Brewing in La Crosse, Wisconsin, has 550 people working there. They've got 5 lines. They want to add a 6th line. And one of the ways that we're helping them do that, we announced just on Friday, was we're giving them $490,000 in tax credits. Meaning if they hit those 100-plus jobs, they get $490,000 worth of credits off of their corporate income taxes.
I called City Brewing. They told me, yes, the governor's tax incentives played a role. At one point, they even said a large role in their decision to hire. They'd been wanting to add that 6th line for a while. It was in the plans a year ago. They're making a $13 million investment, so $490,000 off their income taxes is a small incentive, but they said it did help push them over the edge. To do it now, to say yes to job creation. So, add 100 jobs to Walker's whiteboard. I ask him for more examples.
Stoughton Trailer is a good example. Overall, 478 jobs. They met with us. We put a package together. If they don't create the number of jobs they said, they don't get as big of an incentive.
Stoughton Trailers is 20 miles southeast of Madison. You know the boxes you see trucks pulling around the highways, carrying fruit and toys and toasters from one place to another? Stoughton makes them. Keith Wise makes the hires. 478, which is a lot of people to hire.
It's crazy. It's fun. It's nerve-wracking at times.
Stoughton will get a $750,000 government loan for investing $11 million in a new plant. I asked if they would have hired the 478 people without these government programs.
We probably would, but at a much lower rate than what we are. Yeah, much slower. We'll be able to get a lot of people in here a lot quicker than what we normally would.
So out of 478 jobs, maybe Walker gets to count half? Keith would not play this game with me. And I can recognize that it's kind of a ridiculous game. Andrew Reshofsky, an economist at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, basically told me as much. He kept repeating, look, the decision to hire someone is so complicated. Any employer, he told me, has a long list of factors to consider.
Taxes are one factor, but not the most important factor, and they tend not to be at the top of the list.
It's kind of a genius political move to say that you, the politician, are going to create jobs. A job gets created, and it could have been you, or it could have been because people are getting old, because we're coming out of a recession, or because people are buying more bikes.
How will one ever know if the economy grows and employment is 250,000 jobs higher 4 years from now than it is now? Will we know that it has anything to do with government policy or not? And that's one of the very difficult and probably unanswerable questions.
So we will never know if he was successful or not?
I think that's fair to say.
Oh, we could know that he failed, right?
Yes. If at the end of 4 years only 200,000 jobs have been created, he has failed in terms of his promise.
But does that mean that... Does that then mean that there's nothing a government can do to help create jobs?
I wouldn't go as far as saying there is nothing a government can do. That overstates the case. Governments can make a difference. If you want to get businesses to increase hiring now, over the next year or two, you have relatively limited power.
Which is, of course, exactly what you want if you're a governor. You have 4 years. You want the jobs now. Reshofsky says, well, if you get a governor who's willing to be patient, there are things he or she can do that will likely help create jobs, such as...
I'm going to improve the quality of the state university system, or I'm going to invest in community colleges, good roads, good bridges, so physical infrastructure, to have an educated labor force. There are possible ways in which you can make a difference.
But you won't see those results till the end of your second term, if you're lucky, or till the next guy's in office. So in the meantime, politicians with a jobs number to achieve focus on the short term. Republicans and Democrats hand out tax cuts and other incentives to seduce employers into hiring. And of course, those goodies cost something. In Wisconsin, they account for $117 million in taxes that will not be collected over Walker's first 2 years. This in a state where they're fighting over every dollar. So that leaves the government with less money to do the things Reshofsky is talking about, to spend on education so that employers can hire smart people, to build good roads and internet infrastructure so businesses can transport goods and innovate. If you go with tax cuts, you might seduce some employers to hire now, but you'll hurt future employers who needed you to spend on schools so they could find educated workers to come up with great new ideas. If you go with long-term spending, schools and internet, you have to increase taxes to pay for it, which can mean businesses on that job creation fence might be pushed to the anti-job creating territory. In both cases, you've zeroed out your efforts. You've had some effect on the one side, but canceled it out with what you did on the other side. But that's the choice you have, long-term or short-term. Whether the governor is Democrat or Republican, someone you love or someone you hate, politicians don't have a lot of options. At best, They'll get a bunch of new jobs for the somersaults it took to get there. At worst, they had some impact, did something, but have no idea how to measure exactly what.
Chana Joffe-Walt, she's part of our Planet Money team. Planet Money is a co-production of our program and NPR News.